was just about to get my sip. I was on 10, 9. Count me down, brother.
All right, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, here we go. We holding banners around here, baby. Welcome in to Hold My Banner, episode 34. So this is the Paul Pierce episode. How about that? Travis Thomas here with the walking, talking, triple-double. Baller, Ante Campbell. What's going on, my brother?
What's up, 2Ts? We got some more USA action today. USA men's basketball against Australia, so I'm excited for that.
Gonna see a little Derek White action out there.
A little Derek White, hopefully a little Kevin Durant action. Yeah, we'll see the team at full strength, hopefully, man.
All right. Well, actually, I want to start there with Team USA. I'm glad you gave me that nice little transition there, my friend. We'll bring you back later on in the program, of course, to play a game that I'm sure I'll be terrible at, but I want to start there with Team USA. You know, Jaylen Brown, the snub heard around the world, literally, for Team USA. Well, Jaylen Brown last week was at the ESPYs on the red carpet, looking great. So was his date. And Cam Newton ran up on him, asked him some questions. You know, Cam Newton isn't exactly a journalist, so he just came right out. Hey, do you feel a type of way that you're not on Team USA? And Jaylen Brown, of course. Oh, no comment. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just happy to be at the ESPYs and a champion. And look how great my date looks. Bro, what are you doing? Later on the same red carpet, Sports Illustrated asked him a similar question in a more journalistic way. Jaylen Brown says, quote, "It feels great to have support. And one day, I will share my story. People don't have all the information in the world that they would like to know." Got it. So another deflection, just in a different way. But at least there he alludes to, one day, I'll tell my story. Okay. So here's a problem I have with this, and I've said it for the jump. In fact, it's twofold. Number one, I said this, that Team USA made a conscious decision to not get in bed with Jaylen Brown, regardless of who's wrong, who's right. Is he right against Nike? Is Nike right? Is there a conspiracy? Are they blackballing Kyrie? Regardless of all of that, Team USA decided we just don't want to get involved, period. I'm also open, and we talked about this, to the analogy that, you know what, maybe there's guys on the team or coaches, whether it be Steve Kerr or someone else, or maybe it's Grant Hill and team, brain trust of Team USA. Someone or some people, maybe it's multiple, don't like Jaylen Brown. I'm open to that too. Doesn't necessarily have to be the Nike conspiracy thing. It could be there's a couple guys that are like, yeah, he's not going to work with what we got going on here. Okay, I'm open to that, right? The decision makers, we'll call them. Someone along the way possibly doesn't like Jaylen Brown, and that's why he's not there. But here's the thing that really bothers me. Jaylen Brown won't pick a side. Look, you can't speak out against Nike or whoevs in one breath on Twitter, and then when you get a chance to talk about it on a platform, you say, well, I'm not going to do that here. One day I will. What? This is a problem. Pick a side. So I'll give you an example. Two guys who completely drive me nuts, and I've criticized on this show and others. I think they're big pain in the arses. I'm going to defend here in this moment, believe it or not. Aaron Rodgers and Kyrie, both drive me insane. Can't stand either one of them. But you know where you stand? All the outlandish things they say it with their chest, and they stand by it. Okay. And we pick them apart, and we call them crazy, and we fact check, and we do all of that. That's not the conversation I'm having. The conversation I'm having with you is those two, and others, but I'm just using these two because they're the most polarizing. These two, Kyrie and Rodgers, both say outlandish, dumb things, quite frankly, to me, my opinion, but they stand by them, and they really believe it. I respect that. They don't back down. They don't cower. They don't pick and choose when they're going to believe this or that. This is what I don't like about Jaylen Brown. Pick a lane, bro. Are you an activist or are you going to take the high road? I'm not going to talk about that here. Why not? When your teammate, who you still, at least publicly, have yet to say congratulations, I'm happy for you too, and publicly does matter. I've heard the narrative that he could have called Derek White privately. Not everything has to be. Hey, you go to Twitter and voice your disapproval to Nike and you want to change the world and all that. Cool, man. You can publicly show happiness for your teammate. Genuinely. He didn't do it. Still, I don't think it's coming. So I don't love that. In fact, I was thinking about this. Jaylen Brown right now, this is a terrible look for him off the court because think about his historic run on the court in way to a championship. Right now, oh my God, he should be capitalizing. Literally. I mean, financially, public eye, popularity, everything. He should be capitalizing on his run that he had on the court, off of the court right now. But because of all this, I actually think it's a bad look for Jaylen Brown. So we'll see what happens. My gut is by the time we get to the real regular season of the NBA, this isn't going to be a distraction. It is now to Team USA, clearly, and it's one of the reasons they did not select him. I mean, even with not picking him, it's become a story and a problem and a distraction. But even though it is right now to Team USA, I think by the time we get to the regular season, this won't matter to the Celtics and their repeat run. But I'll say this, all this stuff's adding up. Jaylen Brown right now, I mean, the ownership stuff, a lot of these extensions that were signed, the bill's going to be due in a few years. It could ultimately catch up to them in the long run. But right now, it won't be a distraction to the Celtics, but it's certainly a distraction to Team USA, and it is not a good look for Jaylen Brown. I want to transition to this. You hear all the time, some players take pay cuts for their team. Jalen Brunson did not take a pay cut from the Knicks. He chose to take a haircut from the Knicks. His entire bank account just took a right off the top. Big ups to him. Bro signed a 4-year, $156 million extension and essentially left $100+ million on the table. 100+ for the Knicks to have, quote, flexibility with the roster. Kudos to him. I couldn't do it. I'm sure you couldn't do it. Some players have done it. Usually it's championship teams. Maybe a guy will take a low pay cut to keep everyone together, and that's a maybe. But Jalen Brunson has decided, nope, I'm going through with it. Although I don't necessarily understand it, some of me kind of, in theory, gets it in terms of, remember, he was balling with the Mavericks. Him and Luka did work. The Mavericks, and maybe Luka, there's conspiracy theories that Luka ran Jalen Brunson and Porzingis out of town, but let's give him benefit of the doubt and just leave him out of it. And let's just put it on the Mavs, because ultimately, they're the ones writing the check, right? The Mavs said, nah, you're not worth it. Go get paid somewhere else. Okay. So he goes to New York. Who believed in him? Who showed him love? Gave him the money. Put their arms around him. Said, you're our guy. I mean, that's got to be a powerful thing to happen to a player that's been shunned, right? So he goes to New York. He gets the money. He feels loved. And remember at that time, when Brunson signed that contract, everyone said, what the hell are you doing? He's not a number one option. Boy, were we wrong, huh? Now, at the time, I remember thinking he could be a number one. We just don't know because he hasn't been put in that position. And if you're the Knicks, what do you have to lose? So I was all for the signing, although I didn't see this coming, that this guy was going to be a world beater. I did not see that coming. So maybe part of Jalen Brunson thinking, you know what? You've already shown me the bag. You've shown me the money. You've shown me the love. The city's embraced him, of course. Maybe now he's thinking it's my time to sacrifice and build a championship team around me. Now, whether the Knicks can do that or not with this flexibility in terms of the roster and the cap, we'll see. My gut says in the short term, they can go out, add some depth. There's still some really good players on the free agent market. But in the long term, which is really what this was for, I think next offseason, they're going to go add another superstar to the mix there in New York. And that's really what this is about. So think about what I just said with Jaylen Brown. Right now, I would bet if it was the Field or the Celtics for this upcoming season, I would bet the Celtics as the champions. But long term, you start looking out. When I say long term, we ain't talking 5-10 years. I'm talking 2-3, okay? 2 to 3 years. You start looking at this Jaylen Brown, whatever it is going on with him, all these bills due on the extensions for these Celtics players, a new owner coming in the next few years. Okay, I can see the Knicks strategically sort of play in the background. Now with this roster flexibility, thanks to Jalen Brunson, they have all these key pieces under contract, just like the Celtics do, except the difference is the Knicks have some more money to play with, and they can get another star next offseason. Strategically, it kind of makes sense. They're in position to pounce on the Celtics, I believe, after another title coming up this season. All right, I want to transition to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese because, look, as the WNBA season continues to go and with every game these two play, I just keep hearing the debates. Rookie of the year, who's going to do it? Well, Angel Reese doesn't do this. Well, Caitlin doesn't do that. Well, blah, blah, blah. This is great. It takes me back to why I love sports, quite frankly. I grew up in a time when beef in sports was cool. I can still remember my uncles, my grandfather, my dad, all the men in my family would grab me. We'd gather around this small TV when I was a kid. I couldn't be but probably 6, 7, 8 years old. We'd gather around a TV and we'd watch on VHS. We'd watch all these old fights. It's probably why I love boxing. We'd watch Hagler and Hearns. We'd watch Ali and Frazier's. And we'd watch all of them in their entirety. And when I say all of them, I mean back then beef was cool because you would have rematches, rubber matches, trilogies, all this stuff. Because these guys would trade wins. One guy will win, then the rematch, the next guy will win, then there'd be controversy, then there'd be a third fight, that was cool. That would fuel the storyline. That would fuel the hype machine. And then I remember growing up and watching every bit of Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. And, of course, we know over time who was the greater player. We get it. But for many years, there were people riding with Peyton Manning. Oh, he's better than Tom Brady. He's greater. Okay, well, longevity-wise, Brady proved it. But think about how long that took. I mean, that's a fantastic rivalry that lasted damn near 20 years. Then I think about Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. So by the time I was old enough to really know who the two of them were, Larry Bird, I've talked about this before on Hold My Banner. Larry Bird, his body was broken down, and Magic Johnson was fat. It is what it is. He wasn't the same Showtime, right? But I at least got to watch them. And, of course, watching clips and my parents schooling me to the game of these two played against each other in college, and then in their primes, they traded Rookie of the Year and championships and all this stuff. I understood it. I got the brevity of it. I got the gravity of it. So I say all that to say, all these things happening were rivalries. That's what makes sports great. I think Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, just the two of them being pit against each other is fantastic. And listen, in the end, they're both going to have accolades and awards and records, and I think both of them will have championships as well. But this is what makes sports great, is the rivalries. Their rivalry is great. And by the way, I think it's the best in sports, and it's not only good for the WNBA, it's great for sports in general. So enjoy it. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. There we go. All right, let's bring in Ante Campbell here. I gave you a lot there. We went Jaylen Brown. We went Brunson. We went rivalries in sports, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. I'm sure you're going to pick apart something.
You know, and it's funny that you say that because as you were talking, I was sitting there thinking like, all right, I got to pick apart this greatest rivalry in sports, right?
Yeah.
Because I got to find something to pick apart. But I actually love that pick. Like, I love that take. Like, I think Angel and Kaylin's rivalry is great. Obviously, there's going to be feeding families for a long, long time here in sports. So I actually like that take a lot. Where I did want to pick apart is you're over here talking about Thibodeau and the Knicks and Jalen Brunson and blah. Look, let me tell you this. Next year or years down the line, the Knicks don't got a chance. If the Knicks got a chance to win the championship, it's this year, and I'll tell you why.
Wow.
They don't got a chance, but I'll tell you why. If they had a chance, it would be this year.
Wow.
Tibbs is running them the tread off them tires, Travis.
I agree.
And that after next year, these dudes are going to be 45. They might be 25 right now, but they're going to be 45.
All right.
After playing a couple of years with Tibbs.
Well, hold on a second.
So it's over.
Let's stay there because I agree with you, and we have agreed on this that he runs teams into the ground.
Yep.
Think about this, and I brought this up. Brunson in the short term, take it. I said this. He's making minimum wage for NBA superstar. Okay.
Yep.
With him doing that, Ante, I think right now, immediate, they can go out. I'm just throwing out names, but Tyus Jones is available. There's guys on the free agent market. They can go out and add depth right now. A team like that with a coach like that, boy, do they need. I already think the Knicks are deep. They need to be deeper with Tibbs, okay? So they can do that in the short term. So if you're running, a lot of tread off the tires, maybe, just maybe, someone in that organization can get to that coach and say, look, we have got to spell at least the star players. And then obviously next offseason is where I think the Knicks can do some damage. I don't know that, the next free agent class next year, but I imagine whoever the big fish is, they're going to go after them.
My only thing is, this is like his fifth NBA team that he's been a part of. If somebody was going to say something to him, they should have said
I know.
We could have still had D-Rose. I know we talked about this already.
Just the star players.
Just like, come on, bro.
Star players, you would think. But we'll see. I do think – I disagree with you in a bit. Even though I like the Celtics to repeat – I think the Knicks are a real player in the East. I think the 76ers are a real player, the Bucks. I think there's some real teams. Cleveland I like, Orlando I like. I'm not saying Indiana I like. I'm not saying these teams will beat the Celtics, particularly this year. But I think all those teams are set up for the future.
Yeah, I just don't think the Knicks have enough star power. And I know people are going to hate me for that.
No,
but
I agree.
I just think that forwards win you games. And, while they have two great forwards now with Mikal and OG,
Yep.
I just don't think that they will be enough or rise enough to the moment. You know what I mean? We haven't seen it from OG. And then when we got Mikal the opportunity to do it for USA last summer, he didn't do it. So, I just don't think they're that upper echelon forward that you need that gets you over the hump.
No, that's fair, bro. I would agree with that. I'm curious to see the next free agent class because I do believe now they can go out and add star power, to your point, because I agree with you. But I think they can, next offseason, go out and get a big-name marquee to go next to Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, we'll have to see. A lot of guys get these extensions now, and they just keep signing them. So we'll definitely see about that. But, all right, man, I wanted to do a new game with you, all right?
Oh, boy.
Where we draft a team with all point guards, all right? So your center's got to be a point guard.
What?
Your power forward, whatever. Everyone's got to be a point guard.
Oh, God.
Let's see what team you got. Jeez. I'm going to take the first pick on this one because, I love talking about these point guards, position I played. So I'm going to roll with the first pick. And with the first pick, I got to take a center, obviously, because, we're talking about point guards. Everybody's going to be small. I got to go get a big guy early in this draft. And with that, I'm going to take who is debatably the best point guard of all time. Not my best point guard of all time. I know probably not your best point guard of all time. But
what are you doing?
But I am taking Irvin Magic Johnson.
Why did you say not regarded as the greatest?
No. I don't know. I said he is. He's in the debate.
Okay.
But he's not Steph is the best point guard of all time. Which is who I assume that you're taking.
Yeah.
But
I'm shocked you didn't.
I got to go get a center. We need a big. And he's the only guy in NBA history who was a point guard that played all 5 positions, actually. Yeah. So I got to go get him at point guard.
All right. So a little strategy there.
Yeah. A little strategy.
Okay. Well, listen, I'll be honest. I'm not going to, hold up a lot of time here.
Yeah,
Steph Curry, thank you.
Yeah.
Look, I hate to admit this because I grew up, Magic was my favorite player.
Okay.
And, I just told you, like, I saw him at the end, too, and he was still good. He could still pass.
Yep.
He was just a little porky.
Yep.
But just watching clips and seeing everything that he did, his stats, everything, his aura, the leadership. I was a Magic guy. But as much as I hate to admit it, I think Steph Curry's the greatest point guard of all time. And I hate even fixing my lips to say it, but he's earned it. He has earned it. He has done it all. He can pass. He can shoot.
Yep.
He's underrated in terms of finishing at the rim. He doesn't get the credit he deserves for that. He ain't no flopper either. He gets full contact.
No.
And he gets to that line, and it's automatica, grammatica when he's up there. He's a good teammate. He's every bit a teammate and leader that Magic was, every bit of aura that Magic had. The only knock on Steph against Magic is the size aspect, which is why you took Magic first, and I respect that. But I think Steph Curry's the greatest point guard of all time.
Yeah. And I'm going to go get a guy who I probably regard as the 3rd greatest point guard of all time. Another triple-double machine.
Yep.
I got to take Oscar Robertson right here, 6'5". Got to put him at the 4. I need it.
Fair. I'm going to need to get a center now.
Yep.
And I tell you what, you talk about triple-doubles, doesn't get any better than this guy statistically, historically. I watched him break the record in D.C.
Yep.
He was with the Wizards for 5 minutes, and he made quite an impact while he was there.
Sure did.
Give me Russell Westbrook at the 5.
Okay. I love that pick. I do actually really like that pick. This is where it starts to get difficult for me, honestly. But I just want to be a bigger team than you, honestly.
Yeah.
And with that, I got to take a guy who we watched in the finals this year do a lot of great things with the basketball. The kid from, Europe, he's been doing a lot of great things, been playing professional basketball since he was like 13 years old.
Yep.
I got to take Luka Doncic at the 3 right here. Yeah.
Luka.
Yep, Luka Magic.
All right, let me see here. Now, so I have my center and I have my point guard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want a little I need some toughness.
Yep.
On this team. Russell Westbrook's tough, but I got him playing center.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Give me the glove.
Okay.
And here's why.
I love this pick for you.
I like the glove and Steph together in the backcourt. I could have the glove even really run the traditional point guard role and play defense.
Yep.
And he certainly is going to bring the attitude to my team on that Oakland stuff that he on. And I can put him, you know how the Bay Cats are.
Real Oakland.
Real Oakland.
Yeah.
And I can put him on, as a defender, I could put him on your best scorer and not think about it. And then I can have Steph really on a catch-and-shoot vibe, but obviously he can handle the rock too when need be. So I'll go glove here. I'll go Gary Payton.
Yeah, okay. I like that. I like GP right there in that spot. This is tough for me, man.
It's tough because point guards are small.
Yeah,
so
that's what makes it tough.
At this point, it's like my 4 and my 3 are going to be the smallest cats on the court, probably.
Yeah, when we do the other positions, it will probably get a little bit easier. Center's going to be also hard trying to find point guards. But, point guard is tough because all of these guys are small. I got to go get a guy who is – I got to match that defense that you just put out there with GP. Bro. So I got to go get the all-time steals leader. I got to get Jason Kidd. And I got a great shooter. I need a leader on this team. Obviously, not saying that the other guys on this team are leaders, but, they were smiling guys. We need a guy who's not on the court smiling all the time right now. So I got to go get a leader and get Jason Kidd.
It's funny that before we even got here, you brought up how I'm a big fan of LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
And you thought I was going to take him at some point. I can't do it with the names I'm looking at.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Positions be damned. I just got to take great players at this point.
Yeah.
The fact that Isaiah Thomas from the Pistons, Zeke is still staring me in the face.
Yep.
Now, this is someone I do remember as a kid, and I even back then felt like Isaiah Thomas was a little bit underrated, and now he's criminally underrated because of all the Jordan nonsense. So I'm going to go Isaiah Thomas from the Pistons and just figure it out.
I like that pick from you. I'm struggling because there's so many great names here, right? But I think I need elite shooting, right? And with that, I gotta take a guy who is looked at as one of the greatest shooting point guards that's not Steph Curry, and I gotta take Damian Lillard. I gotta have somebody who's gonna really space the floor with Oscar and Magic down there. You know what I mean? Luka can really space it, obviously. Jason Kidd, but I need a guy who can shoot it from range and from deep. So I gotta take Damian Lillard here.
We're just doing starting five.
We can take a bench player too.
We're going bench too.
Yeah, one bench player.
I ask because this is a value play at this point.
Yep.
I need scoring anyway. I'm going to go Steve Nash here.
Yeah.
I just need someone who's electrifying.
I was looking at him,
he has
too.
everything. He can pass, he can score, he can do everything.
Yep.
Similar to Steph. So I in my head, Steve Nash and Steph on the court at the same time is a problem.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be hard for us to guard that. I don't think Dame – I might have to do some switching around. I don't know if Dame is guarding any of those guys. All right. With that, I'm going to do the bench, and I'm just going to take a guy that's dynamic, like you said, that can really do a lot of different things. And at their peak, I mean, Jesus Christ, youngest MVP in NBA history.
Yeah.
I got to take Derrick Rose.
Okay. Explosive.
Yeah.
All right. So, correct me if I'm wrong here. You have Robertson, Magic, Luka, Kidd, Dame, and D Rose coming off the bench. Is that right?
Yep.
All right. I have Russ, Westbrook, Steve Nash, Zeke, Glove, and Steph.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I want to preface my comments by saying I hated this player growing up.
Oh, God.
And I mean real hate. Like I hated him. And at the same time, I have to respect greatness.
Yep.
And there is no way in hell that I can draft a team full of point guards. It's bad enough I got him coming off the bench, quite frankly, and not take this guy. By the way, before I even make this pick, I have all modern day players.
Yep.
No disrespect to any of the great point guards from yesteryear. I didn't watch them. I'm sorry. So I'm just going by who I watched.
Yep.
Even though he has a punchable face, I hate him and he stinks. I will take John Stockton to come off of my bench. Thank you very much.
Okay. John Stockton. I'm surprised that you didn't take Chris Paul there.
Please. Who do I hate more than John Stockton? Cliff.
Well, that's why I'm
Cliff
surprised, because you
Paul.
were talking about a guy that you hate. I didn't realize that you were going to pass on his body like John Stockton. You know what I'm saying? I didn't realize that. But I like the pick, though. I mean, he's one of the greatest point guards of all time. I really did. Obviously we're making a team here. So
right.
I obviously have J. Kidd, and I think J. Kidd is a better defender than John Stockton,
yeah,
right?
No doubt.
So I didn't want another guy that was kind of like, they're all point guards, so they're all on ball, but like John Stockton's really, really patting the rock on ball. So, I don't hate the pick at all.
Bro, let me ask you, though.
Yeah.
Who the hell's playing power forward for me?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think.
So I have Ross. I'm going to put Ross at center.
Okay,
just because of his style of play. I don't know who's my power forward.
I feel like you got to go
guys.
IT because he's got the most fiery instinct.
Small, though, right?
Wait, okay, then go GP. I say GP.
Oh, could go GP at 4.
GP's like 6'5", right?
Yeah, GP at 4.
Yeah.
Maybe I guess Zeke then at 3.
Zeke at the 3, and then Nash
at Steph.
at the point, and then Steph at the 2.
Okay, now we're cooking. And
all right,
Stockton off the bench.
Let me run through the teams one more time for the people at home. All right, let me look. So we got Damian Lillard for me at point guard, Jason Kidd at the 2, Luka at the 3, Oscar Robertson at the 4, Magic Johnson at the 5, and Derrick Rose coming off the bench. Travis has Nash at point guard, Steph at shooting guard. We got IT from the Pistons at the small forward. Power forward, he's got Gary Payton, the glove. And then at center, Russell Westbrook. then John Stockton coming off the bench. What do you guys think? Whose team wins? I think my team is dominated.
Bro, all I do is talk trash to you. Your team's beating mine. I'm okay with it. I tell you what, though, we're going to score a lot of points.
Yeah, you're going to score. Both teams are going to score, honestly.
Yeah,
but you're going to
score more.
We're getting the boards, though. Every miss.
Yeah,
every miss is ours.
Yeah, your team's size is going to be a problem. By the way, for me and Ante, if you want even more of us, check out Boston Has Entered the Chat for all the latest on Boston sports and pop culture. You can check the latest episode out on Nesson's YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure you follow us on all your social media accounts for all of our best content. All right, so in the production meeting, Ante tells me we're going to be talking college football video game that comes out this week. And I'm like, what? What are we doing here, Tay? You want to talk college football video game?
Yeah, that's true. I did want to talk about it. The game obviously comes out today, Travis. Right. And with that, I just kind of wanted to know from a basketball standpoint, if you were a 5-star recruit, what school would you have chosen?
Wow.
Yeah.
So if I was I'm glad you said basketball because it is different.
Yeah,
if I'm football, I'm picking somewhere else.
Okay.
Boy, it's hard to not say UNC, but I married a Bruin from UCLA.
Oh, okay.
And I bring this up, Ante, not because I'm gonna, pander to her and pick UCLA because I know she would want me to, but I'm going in a different direction here. If you had asked me this before I met my wife, I would have said UNC without a hezzy.
Okay.
Now I'm completely turning my back on the Tar Heels because when we were dating, Ante, and I went to visit her, and she took me on campus in Westwood, I immediately said, if I were a 5-star recruit in basketball, I would come here.
Yeah.
UCLA, my friend.
Pauley Pavilion. Okay, but I got to ask you, all right, because, obviously that was my stomping grounds growing up. What restaurants did you remember that you went to out there in UCLA land and Westwood that you liked?
I just remember LA restaurants. I don't necessarily remember like Westwood ones. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because she lived in Santa Monica. So we went all around, all through there.
In-N-Out? Are you an In-N-Out fan?
I am. What I'm not is a lot of West Coast people say In-N-Out is the GOAT.
Okay.
You lose me there. But In-N-Out is banging. And I think it was called like Animal Style.
Animal Style.
Yeah, that hit. So I'm a fan. It was busting.
He a fan.
Yeah, it was busting. But I'm not. I'm a 5. I like Five Guys, and I like Shake Shack, too. I would put them, in whatever order, I would put them above. Actually, now that I get older, I'd probably put Shake Shack 1. Because Five Guys really tastes the best, but it's too greasy, dog. It's too much.
Okay, now that you're in Boston, I quickly got to ask you, In-N-Out or Tasty Burger?
I don't think I had Tasty Burger.
You have? We're going to Tasty Burger after this episode.
I haven't had Tasty Burger. I haven't had Wahlburgers either. I see those everywhere too.
Bro,
I saw one by Fenway, and I still haven't been there.
We gotta get you anointed.
Have you had Wahlburgers?
Yeah,
Is it good?
I get the like a patty melt from there.
Do they belong in this conversation? Is it that good?
I think they're like at the bottom of it, but they're up there. But
so if it's like a top 10, they're 10.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
They're good though. I used to eat it all the time back when I was in Fenway.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I haven't had Tasty Burger yet.
Yeah.
But right now, my power ranking's 1 to 3, and I know my burgers, so this matters.
Yeah.
Right now, because I'm older and I'm not trying to drop dead from grease, I would go Shake Shack 1, even though you could drop dead from grease.
Okay.
It's so good. I still have to go Five Guys 2, and then I'd go your hood. I'd go In-N-Out Burger 3.
I'll take that. All right, let me give you what school I would go to.
Okay.
All right, if I was a 5-star recruit in today's age. Obviously, this is different from when I got recruited.
Of course.
So I gotta sit here and think, like, I love the way like coaches who are adapting to like this new era of like giving their players more of a voice, power, whatever. So I think I would rock with Coach Cal and go with him with Arkansas. I think Arkansas would be a school that I would go to. Yeah, bro, because one, I love red. Red is such a dope color to wear in college basketball. There's so many great shoes. You know me, shoe freak. I'm
talking more about
I'm wearing
Fayetteville.
flu games off rip. I'm 18, Travis, and fit to as a guard, point guard. Grew up, point guard.
Yeah.
We know one thing is going to be for sure, and two things are going to be for certain. Coach Cal is producing great guards in the NBA.
Facts.
So I'm rocking with him because of that, and also the fact that he shows a lot of love to his players, take care of his guards, his players. I'm rolling with him with that. Another school that I would actually love to see, which is going to a new conference actually, and is going to get to play against a lot of great teams, is Cal. Actually, I would play there.
Berkeley, right?
Yeah, Cal Berkeley. They have obviously everybody knows about their education, which would be top tier as a grown man now. Right. Looking back at it, I'm like, man, having a Cal Berkeley education and the access to the boosters and all that other stuff, I will roll with them. And then I also obviously just would love to play for Mark Matson. He played for the Lakers back in the day.
Yeah.
I know about what he's done with that team as a coach. He's a really great guy, so I'll roll with them.
Real quick, you said the landscape has changed from when you were being recruited.
Yeah.
If you were a 5-star at the time you were being recruited, where would you have picked?
North Carolina.
Yeah.
North Carolina.
I understand.
North Carolina.
Did you ever consider UCLA?
I definitely
did. Or SC
did.
even?
I definitely did. Back in the day, I had some conversations with some guys over there at UCLA, Zoe, Aaron Holiday, and then, some of the bigs over there at the time. And I was considering transferring there.
Wow.
So I definitely thought about it. About it.
All right. Now let's talk Summer League.
Yes, sir.
So we talk about this every show. We kind of check in on Summer League. Up until this point, have there been any performances or players that stood out to you up until this point?
Yeah. There's been a couple, and I think we obviously spent a lot of time talking about the big name guys, but one of them actually that drafted 14th, Bub Carrington. He did a really good job with the Wizards over the weekend. He played, you would think in a game with Alex Sarr, Reese Shea, that would be the guys that are really coming to this talking about, but no, this dude had a near triple-double. I think he had 19, 8, and 9, shot the ball extremely well, did not look afraid of the moment. He looks like he's ready to play NBA basketball today, so I really had to shout him out. And another guy that looked like he really is ready to play NBA basketball today is Reed Shepherd. If we were talking about the Coach Cal guards, the Kentucky guards, he just looked amazing. That move that he had, he double dribbled. He did the little step back, and he dropped it down and cooked Dalton Connect.
Cooked him.
He double dribbled on it, but he was frying all night that night, so I got to give him a shout out as well.
Yeah, same. I would say Reed's stood out to me. Mm-hmm. And I still remember draft night, you and I both, our eyebrows raised up when they took him because we both liked his game in college.
Yeah.
And we both liked this young Rockets team. Right. So it was like kind of a nice marriage. That they took him, and so far so good in Summer League. I would agree. He has really stood out to me, and I actually think he's going to be just fine with that franchise. I have my eyes on the Rockets. I like what Ime's doing out there. I think they'll be a bona fide playoff team this season. Not just make it, but they're going to be a tough out for someone.
Yeah.
What about Baylor Shireman? I mean, he looked pretty lights out to me. He looks like he could shoot the lights out, which is exactly why he's here, right? I still – I'm kind of hating on the kid a little bit, Tay, to no fault of his own. I just thought the Celtics should have taken a big.
Yeah.
There were a couple guys on the board that they could have taken, and they didn't, and they took, Shireman instead.
Yep.
But I tell you what, he looks every bit of advertised. He can shoot. There's no question about that.
Right. I think it fits into everything that we've been talking about on this show.
Yeah.
Like, he's just able to plug and play and do a lot of different things. And the Celtics got their guy that really can just do everything. Like, he did a little bit of everything. He had 13 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 43% for 3. What else can you ask? You know what I mean?
Nothing.
On 7 attempts. So I think, obviously they know it's going to take time for him to develop, but 2-3 years down the road, this could be a guy that we look at like Peyton Pritchard, that they kind of developed and they need more opportunity for him, but he's ready to play. So I loved how he played. I love how Watson played, honestly, too. He was 4 for 7 from the field. I know people don't usually talk about 54th picks, and he's going to spend a ton of time with the main Celtics this year.
Right.
But he looked good as well. He got a nice block in the game. He looked athletic. He was sliding his feet, playing within his role. They both look like Celtics players that can come in and really really just play positionless basketball. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for these young rookies.
No doubt. All right, now tomorrow we get to run it back. The Sun are at the Liberty. And you remember I talked about this on the last banner. You know, I was bummed out that the Sun lost an opportunity against the Liberty at home.
Yep.
Had they won that game, they would have had sole possession of first place. Instead, they lose by 3 in a shoulda, woulda, coulda game.
Yeah.
I thought they could have won that game, to be honest with you. Now they get a shot at the Liberty in New York tomorrow, and I think they're gonna win this game too, brother. I do. I thought they were gonna win at home. They didn't. I think they're gonna go into New York and beat them. And by the way, I'm looking at the schedule right now. So they just smoked the Mercury.
Yep.
Now, after this game, they have 4 straight against under 500 teams. So think about that. You smoke the Mercury. If you could beat the Liberty, then your schedule lightens up. I mean, that feels like a win streak to me, brother. If my math is correct, that should be a 6-game win streak as far as I'm concerned. So I like the Sun to beat the Liberty tomorrow. What say you?
Yeah, I'm with you. And you know what I love from seeing that box score from the game against the Mercury is that Rachel Banham took over the game, had 24 points, 8 for 11 from 3. That's what you want to see from your veterans. I think this team went out and made a statement against the Mercury that they're ready for this game on tomorrow against the Liberty, and they're ready to kind of have that revenge because they were close. They were right there. But we've known after last year, they kind of were the third best team in the WNBA, the best team that isn't, quote unquote, a super team, and it's time for them to finally get their respect. This is a huge chance for them to kind of get that respect around the WNBA, that they're not just the best non-super team, that they're just the best team in the WNBA, period. So hopefully they get this opportunity to beat this team and then go on a streak where they can actually claim first place again when they play all of these bums in the WNBA that they got left.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm looking at the standings now. Liberty, Sun, Lynx, Aces feel like the realest teams to me. You got to put respect on the Storm name, of course.
Yeah.
They're right there, and then it's a drop-off. It's drop-off city.
Exactly.
I mean, now you're talking Mercury, Fever, Chicago Sky, and then the rest is Drek.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you make a good point. I think the Sun in that grouping feel like, from what I've watched, they feel like the best team to me.
Right.
The most complete team, I should say.
Yeah.
But we'll see. You got to let this stuff play out. Tay, as always, we appreciate you, my brother, and thank you for all your contributions. I didn't do as terribly as I thought on your point guard game today, but it wasn't great either. We'll see you next. Hold my banner. I want to end it here. Tip of the cap to Steve Kerr for his comments on the assassination attempt of Donald Trump that we all saw, former President Donald Trump. Kerr has long been outspoken with his political views, and he's diametrically opposed to everything Donald Trump stands for from a political standpoint as far as viewpoints. Yet, in this moment of confusion and violence and chaos in our country, Steve Kerr's quote really stood out to me. He said, quote, "This is a time where we feel very proud to represent our country wearing USA on our chest, competing in the Olympics. We've talked to the players about how important it is to show the best version of us as human beings, to represent our country in a respectful, dignified manner. It makes you want to do that even more so, because this is really shameful for us to sit here and think about what happened and think about what's going on in our country." That's so well said. And it's just, I'm watching all this stuff on Twitter like you are and everywhere else, and people are celebrating this stuff, and then people are suggesting that it's fake, and then and I'm just like, man, like we are so divided as a country that it meant a lot to me to hear someone in a position of power like Steve Kerr, who does not agree with the views of a Donald Trump, really sort of humanize this. I thought that was well said by him. It should be noted, too, Kerr lost his father when he was young to gun violence as well, an assassination overseas. So I'm sure that this hit close to home to him, in his heart, obviously. And kudos to Steve Kerr for putting his own political views to the side and just focusing on humanness, good versus evil in the world. Kudos to him. And I think that's a great representation of Team USA. And it should be, quite frankly, a great representation of all of us. All right, so for all of our best content of the day, make sure you follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We will be back on episode 35. Hold my banner. How about that? We're climbing the ranks, baby. Travis Thomas, Ante Campbell. We'll see you then till we hold my banner again. Peace out.